Oops. Well, hey everybody, welcome to VALORANT Challengers. We're going to be starting off today. It's day number 4, by the way, and this is going to be the last one. This is going to be myself, Marks, as well as Goppers just over there, having a little bit of tech issues as we kind of get things started off here. But so far, the tournament has been kind of spicy. At this point, too, we've already gotten 2 teams that have already qualified. It's going to be YFP and SAD Esports have secured their spots in Challengers already, but that means we still got 2 more spots left to go.
Keep talking, Mark.
Okay, and so basically, it's been a wild ride. Obviously, if you've been taking a look at Twitter, both of those individual squads have been pretty happy being able to secure their spot. I know YFP has been one of those teams that's been around the circuit for quite some time, and now they're finally able to actually make their way into Challengers, which is extremely exciting for them. Obviously, Challengers being the next step to kind of get yourself into that top level thing there. But let's take a look at the bracket right off the bat. As I said, you look at that top bracket, SAD as well as YFP, they've already secured their spots. But of course, wanting to make things a little bit spicy, we got to take a look at our lower bracket. So once we're down here, basically, these teams are fighting for survival. Only 2 more of these teams are going to be able to qualify for Challengers in this Open Qualifiers. Do have another one in a couple of weeks, but still, I mean, you've made it this far already. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to secure your spot.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too, right? Again, this is such a big stage to prove yourself on. Also, hi guys, I'm back. This is such a good stage to prove yourself on. And I think overall, right, we're getting very, very close to, obviously we're in the top 8, right? So this is where things start to get a little bit dire, the lower bracket finals, right? So it really is, okay, you lose this one and you're out. And I think that's what the scariest thing is as well. There isn't that secondhand stake where it's like, okay, you know, we can get away with the loss here and then run that lower bracket run. It's more so one mistake and it really could mean the entirety of the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. And if we even take a look at our first match that we're going to be covering today, which is 1337 up against Nightblood Converse, this is going to be a really interesting one. Up until this point, 1337 has not lost at all, unless it was just against YFP. But YFP qualified, so that's kind of okay. But they've actually eliminated Shopify. And on the other side, too, Nightblood Converse has gone up against quite a bit of pretty intense teams, and yet they've all squeaked by as well. So both these squads, they're looking extremely good coming into this matchup.
No, they are. And kind of like what you said and following that point as well, beating Shopify, coming up to this point where, okay, now they have to go against another very, very strong team, in my opinion. Nightblood, they've had a pretty good run themselves. So, you know, you're kind of looking at the statistics here of this. I think this is going to be a pretty fair matchup. I really do. I do think it kind of is more leaning towards the side of what more so the history is looking like throughout the tournament itself, because again, we've had a pretty big hiatus with the off season and just trying to find the teams, find whoever is really meshing well with another person. And I do think in terms of both of these teams, actually, some of these players have played together for quite some time. So it feels pretty evenly matched, like I said before.
Yeah, I mean, when we take a look specifically at that Nightblood Converse roster, Nightblood Gaming has been an org that's been circulating throughout esports for quite a little bit of time, but now actually partnering with Converse University to get a little bit more of that, like, backing into the collegiate league. I mean, you know that there's going to be that system and process put into place, and also, too, just getting their reps in. Obviously, the CVAL scene kind of going on in the background right now, but that would be really sick if, you know, you and your college team can actually qualify for Challengers, and so you know that they're going to be coming into this one. Well, I do think that 1337 a little bit of a darker horse, because they came in here, I looked at the squad ahead of time, and none of them had really played on the same team prior to this tournament, according to some of the statistics online. And the fact that they're kind of coming into this one, and if you've watched some of their previous matches that have been streamed, they look really good. I mean, given the fact that they haven't had as much of a structure as Nightblood Converse might have been having, the synergy just looks amazing. And so I'm really excited to see kind of them coming into this one. I mean, once again, Gompers, this is for elimination. So both of them have to put their best foot forwards.
I think another thing too, we've seen 1337 on stream. If you guys haven't seen them on the main stream, they have been on the side as well. So you can actually get a view of, the overall gameplay, as well as they've gotten themselves and their reps in when it comes to being on camera. But then we're also looking at Nightblood, and they haven't gotten that chance just yet, right? For both of these teams who you would consider to be on the newer side in regards to their compositions, to the players that they're playing with. It is kind of new, and so it's going to be a little scary as well. I always take this into consideration being put on broadcast because it is a real thing, right? It's nerve-wracking. You have tons of people watching, and they know that. So it's one of those things where, there is a bit of adjustment there when it comes to 1337. So honestly, you could just have big egos in Nightblood Gaming as well, and they'd just be like, you know what? It really doesn't matter. Like, this is a everyday sort of thing. But yeah, I guess that being also taken into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, we love a good old big ego, but let's save it for the actual maps, and we've got those maps ready to go for you. So now we can take a look at what we're going to be specifically going into for this matchup, and I'm going to be starting things off on Icebox, which is going to be Nightblood Gaming's pick, and that's going to be 1337 on the defense, and then we're going to be moving over to Lotus with 1337 once again on the defense, and worst comes worst, we've got Ascent for that final third map if we do need it.
The Icebox. Oh my gosh. I can't express to you how much I miss this map. This is like, I have not casted this map in so long, and to have two like really good teams battle it out, to be in that top 8 spot is fantastic in my opinion. Listen, I'm an instigator. I love problems, and I feel like we're going to see a lot of that on Icebox. But I do want to hear your thoughts though, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the viewers right now probably mauling a little bit, being like, yes, Icebox, our map has returned, because I'm also a big fan of Icebox as well. Obviously, it did get a little bit stale towards the end of its life cycle before it got taken out and thrown back in, but some of the changes, I mean, they don't make that much of a difference for me. I think the biggest thing right now is adding that little bit of a window on mid, kind of cutting down some of the other angles and pathways that a lot of people can kind of walk down. But overall, this map more or less just kind of the same to me.
It's interesting too, because both of these teams actually favorite Icebox a lot. So I would say this is pretty beneficial on both sides to have this map being played for, right? Like 80% on both sides, and probably minimum of at least around 9 to 10 games played. So you got that going on for the past 2 months of them constantly trying to ratio other teams on a map like Icebox. So I mean, how is that going to fare out here though?
I honestly, I think that's going to be the question when it comes down to Icebox. Like, it is even enough that I do think that both of these teams honestly could keep the score line pretty close. But at the same time, we've been around here for quite some time. We know how this can work. And sometimes one of the teams just is able to just suck all of the wind out of the room and just kind of run away with the map. And suddenly that tied and true strategy that you kind of expect, the lineups are becoming a little bit too predictable. And so you're really able to start to counter things like that. So I don't want to say that it's going to be evened out, but I don't also want to predict that it's going to go one side or another. I want to see some exciting Valorant, and I think that is something that we're all kind of hoping for. But of course, well, we don't really know until we get into the game, right, Gomp?
Oh, yeah. And the game is what I'm excited to see. I do want to know with the compositions, though, of what they might be running. What is that going to look like? Because, again, we did have, like, the Icebox comp of the Sage, being that meta. And I do think people have been testing new things out, obviously taking the Sage out in replacement for maybe a Killjoy, right, as that Sentinel. And that's something that I've been seeing a lot, especially for Nightblood, right? And that being, like, that main composure that they like to take there. But it really is like a game of what works best for your team, right? Who is going to be that main duelist to run it down? I see Arena on Nightblood as well in terms of what composition they like running. And if you guys aren't aware and you haven't seen me just yet, let's just say I am a fanatic for a good Reyna player.
Oh man, you're really just trying to get all the viewers to be a little bit upset with you, huh? Oh, I love Icebox. Ooh, I love insta-locking Arena. Man, that's
the viewers are like,
pretty well.
Get her off the desk.
Yeah, pretty much. But I do want to talk about that because obviously Nightblood, like you said, bringing in that Arena, they're pretty comfortable running the Jet alongside it as well. And meanwhile, when we go over to 1337, their composition throughout this tournament, when they have been playing Icebox, completely just get rid of that duelist. We've seen them pull out the Chamber and the Sage as kind of this, not just the Chamber and the Sage, Chamber, Sage, and Killjoy. So far, 1337 in this tournament have been running this triple Sentinel composition, which... Obviously, their attack percent win rate, not necessarily the best. Their defensive side looks a lot more solid, but still, I mean, keep in mind, they are starting things out onto defense here. And so I think that adds just a little bit more, given the fact that they're going to start off on what could be considered their better foot. And I'm curious how Nightblood are really going to be able to react to that, because no one really expects the triple Sentinel.
You know what? And I think this might actually work more because I don't think Icebox is such a heavily aggressive map, right? There's only, to a certain point, it really does. I don't know how to explain this in the correct way, but to a certain point, you really only need to reach probably like 10% of the map to really get that plant down. I never see too heavy of a contest unless you're actually aiming for something like that to contest the whole entire site to really keep things on lock. So I do kind of like that triple sentinel role to keep even on the attack, the post plant down, right? And just make sure they have all that information to play with as well as that util. So I am kind of a sucker for no duelist on a map like Icebox. I think it's a little bit more forgivable than what it would be on any other map, but again, I also do love a good Reyna, so it's like I'm kind of weighing my options here, seeing what's gonna happen. But yeah, you're like, oh gosh.
You're literally that meme where it's like the guy like holding one girl's hand and looking the other way, just like, ooh, it's the lock Reyna, yes please.
Yeah, it's like
for tactically sound compositions. Yeah,
I'm loyal to one, but I am looking the other way as well. So it's pretty. Okay, everyone has their own right to an opinion, but. You know, statistics-wise, you would say, like, I guess more so, it is pretty smart to run what I think 1337 is going to be running, especially kind of with their play style, too. I do think this team is a little bit more on the slower side, so it definitely it combines pretty well.
Yeah, and also, too, just kind of to highlight that, I mean, if we were talking about how you would usually expect this Icebox lineup to go, obviously, Jett is kind of still in the conversation, even after a lot of the changes to the duelists have kind of been made. Yeah. And especially with that slow playstyle, just like you said, having that chamber kind of take on that long-range opping role and just play a little bit more passively that way, while, of course, you know, on the attack, you see those lurks kind of get set up and things like that. I think that chamber does a pretty good job of being able to hold down some of these angles. I mean, obviously, the rendezvous not as effective as it once was, but there are still enough tricky angles, places to hide around where you can just teleport like that, get yourself out of those situations and potentially get a couple of kills without getting taken out. But regardless, let's load into it and let's see if we are going to be seeing some of these tricky compositions for these two teams.
Yeah, we can finally stop daydreaming and see what is going to... Yeah, exactly what we said. And this is perfect. I mean, this is what they've been running throughout the whole entire Challengers, and look at where they are now, right? So if it works, it works. I think here, obviously... is the time to see what works better. I am interested to see like the differences of what this Sage is going to bring rather than not having that Sage and kind of running that Killjoy composition, right? So that is definitely something to keep an eye on, but we're heading into the game. Finally, I know you guys were anticipating it, but Marks, man, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, this one is going to be a little bit of a banger. I think just for myself, taking a look at these compositions, for me, that is going to be one of the most interesting things. You know, you touched on the Sage a little bit there, and I'm curious to see how these Sage walls are going to be placed down to really just narrow down some of the avenues of attack. Of course, though, let's see how the setup is going to be going. Right off the bat, we're seeing that Sage and Killjoy move over to the B side, and it looks like Chamber and Sova going to be hanging out on A. Nightblood Gaming, they are getting ready to go. A bit of a rush, potentially, and it's all kicking off right now, Gomp.
Yeah, already throwing the dart outward to, honestly, just kind of keep these players there to anticipate some sort of step to happen on the B side, while the A side gets contested very slightly.
And look at that already. Barrier Orb doing such an annoying job, but that allows for a lot of space to get taken up onto B. And of course, Excite has to use that Owl Drone to get that piece of information. So already just kind of sticking down the utility, but NBG probably has the read as to where this attack might be.
Yeah, they've seen majority of the players there. Can already see a rotation coming in through from Yeji on 1337. So as they slowly make their way about, there still is that hold. And you see the pings, they're ready for it. There is no doubt that we're going to see NBG hit this site. The question is when.
And honestly, right now, 1337 doing a good job of holding their ground. Not really committing to the rotate, but not committing too hard. And now, Nightblood looks like they're poised to go. 5 seconds left before that 30 goes, but with the dart hit, I think this is go time.
Yeah, they're going to have to hit the site after that one. I do believe they were waiting for that 30-second mark, but yeah, just trying to get themselves back onto the site. The backside cleared. Now the only trouble is what the extremity is holding. So 1337, util gone. Absolutely nothing to play with here. So they're just going to have to peek the angles and hope they win those fights.
And look at this, an immediate retreat from Nightblood, relying a little bit more onto those lineups, leaving Zeke up front. take a little bit more of that frontal pressure, and now retake underway.
Yeah, I've gotten information. Okay, there's multiple already moving in the same spot, so nobody's flanking there. As it seems, we actually have a flank of our own coming through from Jay, but the timing of this is going to be impeccable. They take out the chamber. They're able to at least eliminate any potential for that flank to be caught, but here it comes. Already 3 players down. And NBG struggling to pick themselves back up, but the flank already coming a bit too late. Yeah, and that's going to be that first round headed over towards 1-3-3-7.
And just an excellent, clean retake coming in from that squad. Awesome understanding, knowing, hey, chances are they're probably not going to be hanging out on the site as much. So let's just make sure we cross our T's, dot our I's, figure out what's going on here. And immediately once they realize that they've backed off, they take the fight directly to them. As soon as things kind of pop off, you can tell that Nightblood, they weren't expecting to see them all up into their faces. And especially on that pistol round where you've just got those numbers, you can click a little bit faster. It's going to make sure that you win out those gunfights. So just an excellent retake, even without that much utility. And now moving into this next one, obviously going to be seeing a little bit of a buy-up. Liking this, a little bit of a judge coming out to play here. Is going to be hanging out onto that A site, but once again, Nightblood Gaming doing something that we saw last round as well. It's kind of taking their time, break down some of that utility before they decide to commit to one site or another.
Yeah, but keep in mind again, I mean, both of these teams seeming like they're having a pretty passive playstyle in the early rounds, just gathering that information. So once they have it, they know what to do. The biggest issue is trying to lure these players into some sort of condition.
Oh, might be able to see our first hit here. Son of Car waiting for this opportunity. Nightblood Gaming once again flirting with disaster on this A site.
Oh, no. Yeah, this might actually be in favor of... Actually, I believe in favor more so of X site, because here Jiggle peek through. Yeah, good angle to take, but Momiji finding a nice shot. You lose your Sova, you lose that information. There really isn't not much you can do, especially with Zeke.
30 seconds left.
Of those Lears are gone.
Now the time is just crunching down. The information is given potentially about this rotate. A Killjoy still available onto B. And Nightblood Gaming, it looks like they haven't really made up their mind just quite yet. Zeke can be taking points, but should be enough to at least stall things out and make it tough for that Plants.
Yeah, I do like the respect they're holding for each other regardless of those classics being taken out. I mean, obviously here, unfortunate Fireball goes down. The way that they did with that 2v1 too strong. Next one there, NBG, they just are having an immaculate time. Post-plant is probably best case scenario for an eco round like this one.
They say diamonds are made under pressure, and, well, time crunch kind of worked out for them in this sense. But excellent post-plant, exactly like you said. Engagement underway, a trade.
Yeah, Guardian still in hand, though. Zeke has such good information. If the plan isn't going down, maybe they win the fight, but if not, it is going to be up to Katashio. The Fusel coming through, but a 1v2 situation. They hear them, headshot not hit. Pyro actually taking advantage of that one.
Man, and even though we do get to see 1-3-3-7 be able to win out that round, Nightblood, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves on how they played that. I mean, obviously, losing your Silver right off the bat, but then just doing a great job leading that Jet onto the flank to add that additional pressure. It made things a little bit more difficult for 1-3-3-7 to be that confident moving in. But honestly, 1-3-3-7 just kind of sticking to their guns, walking in, played it nice and carefully. They're able to clear things out on site, and then suddenly that flank potential, it's not going to be that big of a deal anymore. And so 2-0, we're going to be seeing that bonus, but Nightblood, they've got weapons here, and you know they're itching for that first round.
Oh, drone doesn't actually even capture the alarm bot that's stuck on the floor. Yeah, Zeke notices it. But even then with that info, you can see slight movement on the map there. 1-3-3-7 changing up the strategy, actually taking a little bit more mid control.
And also, too, I just want to comment, they've been doing an excellent... Nightblood Gaming has been doing an excellent job of picking up ultimate orbs on both sides of the map.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we see them spread out on B and A, and so as a result, their ultimates are a lot closer to being online without even finding that many kills yet. So at least they're keeping that in mind in kind of like that meta game play.
Oh, they've made so much noise, but it's the same pacing as before. Actually, a bit more scared knowing they have these weapons to save on the bonus, but then a Vandal dropped down, so definitely working to the best of their advantage. Pyro getting caught out, unluckily enough, not actually being able to take the shot. NBG suffering ever so slightly, but so many players down. It's actually two pretty important players of the round as well. It's not going to be easy to take this site back, though.
No, and Zeke goes down as well. Right now, 1-3-7, all 5 members still remain.
Last player standing.
And already it's just down to 1 J. Cruel.
Yeah, you'd think the post-plant scenario would work, but unfortunately, so many players already downed in seconds, so not really working out in favor there. Maybe just, I wouldn't say a bit too aggressive, but not a lot of util to really assist with the ego peeking as well.
No, not at all. And also, too,
Yeah.
I can't believe that Momiji has been getting these Bucky kills. I mean, first one, sure, you know, you don't expect someone to be playing with the Bucky on that second round. And yet again, I mean, it just works out perfectly. And now you know that at this point, Nightblood, they have to do a better job at least checking for that one. Obviously, given the economy, we will be seeing 1-3-7 just buy up. They were able to get all of the weapons out of their enemies' hands as well. 3 rounds in a row now, but Nightblood, you know they got to start to be feeling a little bit more nervous here. They haven't really been committing to these attacks. I think they might need to increase their pace a little bit. They've been playing it very slow, but that's kind of exactly what 1-3-7 wants.
But I like this, though. There's a lot of heavy mid control being taken, even if it's not really, you know, exact, right? They're slowly working their way up towards A to gather information, and a nice pick down.
Yeah, and that one is going to be an important one as well.
Yeah.
Killjoy was that flanker where they were expecting to kind of be on the lurk, but with that kind of goes down, I mean, the squad has to more or less just play together at this point. And Son of Kar on this chamber has been doing a fantastic job at least applying that pressure, so it's not as easy for Nightblood to be able to find these entries. Looks like this time, though, they're ready to go. Let's see if they're going to wait here, but look at that, barrier orb up already. Things just got a little bit more annoying for Nightblood.
It's so much harder, too, because you're in a position where you're 1-3-7. This team is going so slow on Nightblood, right? You need some sort of aggression. And I think 1-3-7, they're taking advantage of how slow this team is, gathering that early info, and now look at the position they're in. I know this team is hitting A, fast rotation forward, and they're feeling good about it. Plant goes down, whatever. Now all they need to worry about are those J-Cool post plants. So interested to see how they handle kind of getting themselves onto the site, though.
Doing a good job, too. Set up that turret, make sure that you don't get flanked here. But the squad waits until they're all regrouped, and then they're going to engage together.
So many heads already shot. Down to it. Winning out the fights. A 3K coming through 4 now from Son of Kar, and that's got to feel really good.
I mean, these retakes, they're almost like a blitzkrieg. They just kind of rush in onto the site, and it feels like they're just so coordinated. As soon as they get grouped up, that's the moment where 1-3-7 almost just pounce on Nightblood. Nightblood aren't even expecting where they're coming from. Sure, they can find a kill here or there, but it's immediately traded back and then done over again. I think at this point, if you are Nightblood Gaming, as soon as you get that spike down, you need to be a little bit more aggressive. You need to take a little bit more space, push into 1-3-7, because if they aren't able to really get their heads together and really like synergize together, then they're going to guarantee that they can find a couple of cheeky kills, make it a lot more difficult for that 1-3-7 retake to happen, and maybe you guys will be able to actually hold on to that spike. This has been extremely good by 1-3-7. 4 defuses in a row now, Coppers.
I have to say too, like, this is a great time to really think about the issues that are happening. Let's not forget there's so much mid control being taken up that it really doesn't allow NBG a lot of space to play on these defaults, and they're not fighting for anything in mid. It really is just that B and A distraction that we've been seeing, hence why we did see Son of Kar give that push up towards A so late. I mean, my apologies, so early in the game to gather that info. Okay, you know, we have this shot coming through on A, we can keep that attention there, or, you know, let's get this quick rotate B. I think this is the best time to really just think of the situation they're in. Even when they're not watching mid here for 1-3-7, there's a smoke there to just keep that pressure back. So I think, honestly, fast-paced hit towards mid, get that control back, and really just offset the way that this team is playing here for 1-3-7 might be the best bet.
Man, Gobbers, are you in their comms? Because it does look like Nightblood Gaming actually are going to be now attempting to take a lot more room onto mid. Fireball will be able to call that one out, but I think that more or less the pressure has been applied there. And so you can see that's going to be 1-3-7. They have to adjust their defensive style now to account for mid being open. And you can tell that means that one of these sites is going to have to be a little bit more abandoned. And that is going to be a site, which is perfect for Nightblood Gaming. Now, they can nice and easily walk in.
Yeah, they're not actually anticipating anything coming through from this either. Oh, such a good hide coming through in mid. And this changes the pace of the game.
Really does. Now they just have to deal with the Viper at the back of the site. Zeke going to be leading the way. Still has another Lear ready to go, by the way. This execute's going to be happening fast here, Comp.
Yeah, they're running it down, which is good. Again, different pacing. Now they have at least some sort of mid-control information following through. Katashio doing a great job as the duelist to really clear things up. And changing things as well. One more until we actually do get to see that Empress as well. Not for this round, but maybe for later. Saving up, which honestly not too interesting of a choice here. But the op in hand is good scenario.
Yeah, on top of that too, I mean, Son of Car is able to find Zeke popping out there. Still don't know that Sage is there, so that means that the operator will be able to be carried over here. But this is one of those disadvantages when you don't bring a duelist in. You know, you lose a couple of numbers there. Unfortunately, the utility on your Sentinels is not going to be really good if you want to go in and challenge if you don't have your full squad available. And so as a result, you know, we see this save come through here, but Nightblood Gaming doing exactly what you said, able to find a couple of cheeky kills. And 1-3-3-7, they couldn't even find a foot in the door. By the time that spike went down, the round was already over.
That should be enough.
Yeah, it's pretty risky though. Again, a great change of pace from Nightblood Gaming. Mid-control, something they most definitely needed. And now I think they're going to try to abuse that just a bit, which might work for a couple rounds, but you know, 1-3-3-7, attempting to adjust to that, obviously putting Chamber down in mid so they can get a bit more aggressive up there to see if they can capture any sign of Katashia once again. But yeah, I mean, Marks, it's a hard game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is Valorant. That is a hard one. And look at that, Son of Car looking for that. Actually just misses that first shot. Excellent positioning now. Katashio at least able to flush that operator out. And look at this, actually, 1-3-7. They bring their members over to reinforce mid. Once again, that means that they have to weaken one of their holds onto these different sites. And Nightblood Gaming, they're running towards B, but with a lot of sound in their steps. And so that means that the defense is going to get ready for this one, but actually, might have all just been an elaborate ruse.
Yeah, back to the default they've done before for NBG. They're slowly working their way up towards mid. Still, though, B site seeming a bit more intriguing than anything else. Op in hand. Yep, they're kind of reading into this pretty well, though. For 1-3-3-7, just waiting for this team to hit. Yep, first sign of Zeke. They missed the shot.
Now engagement should be pretty easy to get that spike down. 1-3-7, they will have all of their members available here, and Zeke goes down early. It's going to make things easier. The Hunter's Fury gets used as well.
Yeah, and they can pick another one off, too. Biggest issue is where's that going to happen? Already Hunter's Fury trying to knock these players back. And any possibility of taking down that Viper's Pit gone. Now they kind of got to work their way inside, but Jay with a flank is beautiful. They're not paying any mind or attention to what's going on back there. Diffusal slowly working its way forward, but Shock Dart's not going to do too much. It's scary. I mean, J Crew left alone. Haven't actually caught the flank just yet. Jay taking their sweet time. Yeah, and this might have been the biggest mistake, not fighting with the team, now missing out the molly as well. I think right there, that was beautiful, but it wasn't the right execution.
I mean, they played their cards as well as they could, using the Viper Spit as well, shut down those long-range operator angles, completely just taking Son of Car out from this. And Son of Car doing a really good job at just being able to land those shots, take out those members early here. But honestly, the start of the show there was just Pyro spraying through the Viper's Pit, being able to find two of the members there, just having a rough idea where they might be hanging out. The game sense really aiding things down, and that makes that Viper's ultimate more or less mute. Now Nightblood Gaming, they realize B has not been that successful for them. Hey, we got one on A, let's try A again. And looks like this time they might be moving a little bit faster. They do have a bit of a scattered buy though, Gompers.
Deploying drone.
I think fast, honestly, might be the name of the game for NBG. They had such a good take on mid. When they decided to, push up again, they have double duelist compositions, so this passive play isn't necessarily made for what they're looking for, but a good lockdown to actually try to secure any sense of space there.
Also, too, I love this. The 3 Sentinels just hanging out together now on the flank. You don't see this every day in competitive Valorant, but at least the information is going to be known. The spike going to go now. 1-3-3-7 on the retake.
Yeah, no sign of life just yet. They were trying for the flank, but they did get caught out. Actually, Marshall the op. Son of Car winning that by a mile. That's good. Flank now being able to be seen. Katashio getting a couple shots in their own, and it's going so good for 1-3-3-7, but unfortunately, numbers advantage there. Going for NBG, Nightblood pushing through, down in the smoke, and tons of control taken. They know where the spike is. They can pre-fire that. Seems like they don't. Looking for something more outside the smoke. Next one comes through.
One enemy remaining.
But it's impossible. 1v1 situation, and the spike now unable to be cleared up regardless.
Oh, doesn't even get the operator there. I was hoping that at least Son of Car was going to be able to squeeze that one out, but honestly, just kind of good execution coming in from 1-3-3-7, but a little bit better defense from Nightblood Gaming. I think Nightblood, specifically Katashio, it started a little bit cold here, but now is just being so annoying for the 1-3-3-7 squad in these weird angles, taking weird positions. You can tell that 1-3-3-7, they're not anticipating where that jet could be, and now that jet is flying top of the leaderboard from more or less being shut down pretty early on these rounds. Nightblood find their second round, and they're starting to gain a little bit more momentum. It's going to be Tour de Force activated first. Son of Car being a little bit more aggro, waiting until that Owl Drone gets utilized. And a very early Hunter's Fury, but Zeke just wants to play the game, not going to get that opportunity.
I think it's been pretty hard, too, with the op in hand there from Son of Car, especially pulling that, pretty much pulling out all the stops they can to keep this team back, despite how slow this team has already been for NBG.
And in that little melee, Yeji went down as well, but given the fact that it was the Sage, and honestly the Barrier Orb already got used, the Slow Orb got used, not too much missing from this squad. Nightblood Gaming, they're now moving in onto this A site, and only Momoji ready for potentially to slow them down.
Spike planted.
Yeah, they've gotten the site post plant. They did a pretty good run on the post plant before, so, keeping the Viper down to make sure the mollies can hit. No flank, actually, this time around for 1-3-3-7, so possibility huge here. Waiting, information given away, down towards mid-site. Pyro works it, and they could actually stick this one. Under the circumstance, they had Yeji, but unfortunately no wall to be used here. Still working their way inside. Jay finds a shot, but then again, it's back and forth.
Toxins going up. One enemy remaining.
Pretty much feeling almost impossible, for MPG.
One enemy remaining.
So much working towards this, and somehow running away with a 3K comes Jay Cruel. A beautiful clutch.
Oh, the good old Icebox special, or at least that's kind of like what I like to call it, because, as soon as you get that spike down on A side, you can just back the way up and just play off of a lot more of these longer sight lines, use a lot more of utility, and it's just so annoying for the defenders to try and get that defuse there. Obviously, I do think that 1-3-3-7 was doing a good job at reading potentially where that utility was going to be. Obviously, the swarm grenades immediately getting kind of cut out, but the fact that Jay Cruel decided to move in a little bit, completely caught them by surprise, and then just an easy Vandal spray makes sure that that round is good. But I love the way so far that 1-3-3-7 have been going on the actual, on their retakes, because it does look very solid. But now we're seeing a little bit more variety from Nightblood Gaming. They're feeling a little bit more comfortable on these post plants. And as a result, they're starting to get away with these rounds. And slowly that score gap is very much becoming closer and closer.
Yeah, NBG, they've been putting in a bit more, again, of that pacing that we talked about before. That might have worked even better, but it's nice to see, right? Despite knowing, this could be, obviously winning this map is pretty important, right? Because you kind of move forward to what could be your last game. So having that advantage is definitely something that you want to keep in mind too, as well.
And after that timeout, 1-7, they might be changing up their strategy a little bit. Obviously, the agent rotations on the defense are going to be swapped around a little bit more. This time around, we're going to be seeing Son of Car play a little bit further onto A site, but already a very strong opening from Katashio, but one recon dart actually makes them second guess whether or not that is going to be the case. And so they just, both teams yield mid, actually. As a Nightblood Gaming, they're back in their spawn, looking for an opportunity, while Yeji actually moving up for a bit more of an aggressive angle.
Oh, and this is so risky, too. Somehow they managed to find one. J. Curl, unfortunately, not in the right position, but...
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Shout out to the rendezvous. That thing is still kind of cool, huh? All right, now, it's going to be a little bit of a utility trade from both these teams. Given the fact that they like to play a little bit more slower, you're going to see a lot more of this utility just clearing out some of these neutral zones. Make sure that they're able to safely take that positioning. And unfortunately, 1-7 might have gotten the wrong read here, as they send a majority of their people over onto this B site after hearing an owl drone. At Nightblood Gaming, they're getting ready to move in on A.
Son of Car has done a good job holding the A site from time to time. I think NBG, you know, we talk about the adaptations. They've definitely been getting a bit used to it. Still having a Lear left available Zeke. Looking to contest, but nobody knows. 1-7 clueless as to what's going on. And taken down is Yeji, the resurrection. Not coming into account this round, so you really do got it. Take your shots and hit them here.
Yeah, Spike can be planted as well. The reinforcements from 1-7 getting themselves ready. This time, Nightblood actually opting to play a little bit more on site. See how this goes. Already Killjoy lockdown used.
They've done so good at this point. Son of Car is not letting this team go without any warning. But then again, do they have the shock darts to really keep this on lock? Excite kind of sitting back. I do think they do. Yeah, looking for the lineups here. And JE has used all of them pretty much. Already two coming down, but regardless, now they have to fight things off. And it's Jay to take things in. This is where lineups really do help you in the post-plant scenario.
100%, and on top of that too, I mean, sure, lineups are great, but at the same time, I think that was just Nightblood doing a fantastic job at playing the mental game here. They completely tricked 1-3-7 into forcing that rotation over onto the B side, and by the time that they actually got in position to retake, unfortunately, 1-3-7 had lost some of their defending members. And so as a result, they move in there, and it's just util on util on util. Nightblood Gaming had all the time in the world to get themselves set up. They weren't scrambling backwards, and this time we're nice and comfortable with it. So only now one round separating these two teams, and 1-3-7 once again, they like to get aggressive on one of these sites. This time it is going to be B. Let's see if they're able to find a kill off of it, but don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, they're trying to hide themselves from the drone. 1-3-7 not wanting to give their locations away. They're in a pretty good spot too with a flank coming in. Jay hears it though.
Oh, Bucky.
Oh yeah, I would not want to be there. Momiji has been a menace with the Bucky.
Just want one more combat.
and one more they shall, though, on the side of NBG, though. Zeke takes that one in. Which is pretty nice, although it's unfortunate. You see the Sage on the side alone. Now Yeji down, no sense of heal there. And Wall. Wall is so great for scenarios like this one. Careful. I think they did use it early on in the round, though, regardless.
Oh, Jay, in such an excellent position, gets all of this timing as well. Not expecting Fireball there, but okay, able to find the kill. And 1-3-7, they find themselves in a very difficult time now to try and retake this with only two people remaining and a Bucky in the hands of Momiji.
Yeah, relying so heavily on the lineups to just keep the round. They've already done their job on the duelist side of getting those early picks and early engagement on the side of NBG, but yeah. Backing off just in time.
And just like that, Nightblood Gaming, they find their fifth. It's all tied up at 5s now. And I think the big thing right now on this defense for 1-3-7 is they're feeling a little bit too eager, I guess is the best way to describe it, where we're seeing these rotations a little bit more early on. I still like what they're doing, you know, they're sending people out of one of these specific sites, take a little bit more space, look for a kill, but I think once you take that space, don't start to backpedal a little bit more. Hold on to it. Keep that piece of information, at least keep one of the agents there to be able to let your team know what's going on, because it feels like there's a bit of an information gap from 1337, which is why they're misreading a lot of these Nightblood Gaming plays. They're hearing a piece of utility and assuming that the full squad is going to be attacking, and hopefully they can sort of dial it back in, because they were looking really strong to start, but Nightblood, it looks like they figured them out.
I think Nightblood know the potential of their post plant too. I mean, they have 3 players who have tons of post plant potential, and then the 2 duelists that just have to keep the site on lockdown. Already losing 1 though, unfortunately, so it makes things harder. NBG though, in a good spot. I love the cheeky angles. Doesn't seem like it's going to work out this time around. Son of Car looking for something more.
Oh.
And unfortunately, just ends up in the crossfire of the opposing side. That's going to be an unfortunate reposition there. But Hunter's Fury pulled out just to try to preoccupy the space, but it's Yeji with a 3K to win the round.
Honestly, that was a really good adaptation coming in from 1337. They've been having a little bit difficulty in this post-plant position, so you know what? Make sure that they just can't plant. Some of those shock darts from Pyro have been not 100% on the target, but this time around they were so effective, especially too with the Hunter's Fury, just completely flushing out the site, allowing for the rest of the squad to take up more defensive positioning. And, well, the rest is history here. But I do want to talk about quickly just how much of an impact Son of Car has been having on these rounds. Whenever we see Nightblood Gaming kind of push into Son of Car, immediately a couple of picks happen, and then it just kind of falls apart for Nightblood. So that chamber is really anchoring down these sites.
They've given away their location here for NBG. And it seems like they're actually trying to pressure this team into thinking that there is going to be a quick take on to the site. But with that being said, I mean, backing off for NBG as well.
Yeah, excellent discipline from 1337 right now. Sure, they push out a little bit. Sure, they yield the space, but at least they didn't over-rotate here, keeping Son of Car pivotably on this A site. And that could be really tough if Nightblood engage into this and just kind of think it's free.
Yeah, all the while, they've completely cleared out mid, so they know there isn't going to be an exec happening anywhere around that space. The A site finally finding that information. So we're having Pyro give in to the distraction. Already NBG sitting up top. Perfect angle to take, and it feels almost as if a wall has been built on the A site. Impossible to get past with another shot now.
30 seconds
And again, Spike
One enemy
being planted
remaining.
down, with Katashio being the last one. The only thing you can rely on here is your aim. There is no post-plant scenario you can win. Nothing to do other than give it away to 1337.
And that was good.
Switching
Once again,
sides.
good discipline coming in from 1337.
Yeah.
Able to end off that half 7-5 now, which is obviously more advantageous for them given this triple sentinel composition, but they just really stood their ground, and that was the right move. They're good for a couple of picks on the entry, and then immediately just kind of back off of there, yielding the space. They've got the numbers advantage. They're more than happy to just play that one. And look at that, Son of Car now at 18 kills. Has been deadly with these angles on that operator, but of course too, with the Headhunter, Sheriff, all of that type of stuff, has been kind of annoying as well. And now that we swap into this offensive half, this is where I feel like a lot more questions are going to be raised about this triple sentinel composition, because sure, some people say that Chamber is a little bit of a duelist, but at the same time, there's no real entry things that you can do besides just getting some of those long-range picks.
Yeah, there's also a huge lack of... I wouldn't say flash is necessarily important in this game, but... You know, like you said, there needs to be some sort of selfish util, I feel like, in order to get that execution onto site. But definitely having to see what's going to happen here. Katashio taking tons of mid-control. Actually, the majority of that push is coming up towards A.
And at least, to be fair, 1337 have looked excellent when they do push in together. They've been doing a good job at least getting the information and then just moving in and winning the neutral gunfights. And so even without those flashes, I still think they should be all right. But of course, the flash just makes it so much easier. And Barrier Orb coming up, Plant will go down. It's going to be 5v5 retake.
Yeah, not even set back by the Killjoy util either, which is not what NBG was expecting. Unfortunately, utility isn't really going to account for 99% of that site there, so learning from their lessons, the retake having to be given away, but NBG unfortunately facing a super difficult task, having to get by every single player, as it seems. Already though, not looking too good. Wall is up to try to create that distraction, but seeing as to what they have to do, spray downs through, but a win from NBG, just sticking the spike there.
Oh man, that's tough, especially too with the angle that Viper's wall was set up. It was just perfect, where you can hide behind cover and not 100% know where the other person is going to be. I love the idea from 1337 on that attack. Use that barrier orb to really just force them to go down one lane or from above, which is always a little bit more difficult to do. You knock down one of the avenues of attack, and as a result, it's a lot easier to defend that spike. But still, I mean, listen, you stick that spike, you're gonna win it, and that's gonna be Nightblood Gaming now buying up into the second round. 1337, they get set up for this B side push, but immediately taking a little bit of damage from this Bulldog spray.
Yeah, losing the last round. Not too good on the ego there. 337. Location's getting caught out as well. So now it really is just a testament to, can you pick somebody off? Kind of just diminish the numbers at this point, because that's the most important. Pyro, everybody moving in actually as a group. And it helps them. They find even more than what you would have thought they originally could. So those two players down versus the one. And the shot's immaculate. The economy master that is Chamber, finding that headhunter.
Oh, that's such a key pick as well. I mean, obviously just a great execute coming in here, but now Katashio only has this Marshall in hand and already gets caught out, so the information is given away in this 1v4 scenario, but one bullet will kill one member given the health pool that 1337 is working with.
Yeah, that's perfect to say as well, because it really is one bullet per person. And normally this would be a pretty tough situation to win if you were playing with any other weapon. But hit your shots and you may as well come clean here, though. Unfortunately for Katashio, Mamiji is the one who's going to reign victorious. So you do have a pretty good takeaway from that, an eco round. So, I mean, interesting to see.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, honestly, that was just excellent coordination from 1337. They were like, all right, when we're going in past this wall, 2 people look down, 2 people look up, just spray your shots, and I'm sure we're going to find somebody. They were probably only expecting one, but they get both of them, and as a result, they can pick up the weapons, the B site's completely clear, and then immediately you see that aggression. They push into the defender's side, and that's how Son of Car is able to find a couple of additional picks, and then the rest is just history. An excellent play by 1337, and now it's Nightblood Gaming. Their weaponry, that's on a little bit of a back foot. Not a lot to work with here, but 1337 looking nice and powerful economy-wise.
There.
Right here. Deploying drone.
Kind of giving themselves away at this point, so it has to be fast execution with this information. Yeah, I mean, they know nobody's kind of contesting 50% of the site, so that could be a free takeaway. Although, unfortunately, they do see that retake wall from J. Curl, so not going to be as easy.
Oh, Zeke spots Momiji out. Momiji trying to win this gunfight, but can't die here. That's going to be pretty pivotal, and able to win that one out, so at least the Viper utility is still available. Most notably, of course, having those lineups ready to go, because I'm assuming that's why you're keeping your Viper all the way back there, but here we go, 1337 engaging.
30 seconds left.
You know, attempting to pause the push with the wall coming up from J. Curl, but Molly's not doing too much here, except for kind of closing out the space. Fireball hitting shots like it's nothing as well, but the reload giving away the location. Beautiful 2K from Jay, and maybe even more to come. Taken down, but honestly, going down with a fight.
I was about to be like, dang, Fireball just kind of saved that round. That's crazy. But then Jay immediately pulls that one back with the Sheriff, which I would argue just a little bit more impressive given the fact that you can't really burst fire that one. But the numbers just kind of working out for 1337. Expected them to win that round. It's now 9-6, but you can see both these teams, they're starting to heat up a little bit more, starting to feel a little bit more confident in their aim style. And that makes me excited, because that means we get a little bit more intense levels of gunplay, and that means it's going to boil down more to the utility and how these mind games can kind of work out. Oh, Katashio timing.
The timing. And it was so early on in the round, too. They should have kept the angle. Man, but a big push moving forward. This might be it. The mid site, J. Cruel. Actually, just playing alongside Jay, and it was such a perfect contact hold that See how well that worked out for
Spike
1337. Oh man. And the up in hand just definitely does not make this easier. No flank though, so they could run away from this pretty scratch free.
At least Katashio was able to make up for that first missed shot onto Pyro by finding the wall bag on the actual execute there. But I gotta say, I really Nightblood defense on mid, absolutely solid. You know, you could tell 1 through 7, they played a little bit faster this time. They played a little bit more loud, expecting that they should be able to just take over this space and be successful at taking over mid, and then they can kind of play Nightblood Gaming like a fiddle, but not going to be the case. You saw 3 members of Nightblood Gaming just making sure that that mid was completely locked down.
30 seconds left.
Something that we didn't see from the 1 through 7 defense. As a result, I mean, they lose so many of their members, the Spike is in an inopportune position, and Son of Car is just forced to save this time around. Great job, honestly, by Nightblood Gaming to just kind of lock the map down.
10 seconds left.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for 1337, that's the end of that round for them. But NBG, they've been, I mean, really pulling all the stops just to keep themselves in the running. I mean, originally, right, they had such a far off disadvantage, you know, at the start of the game. But I feel like this is where changes definitely start to occur, especially with the switching of sides here. But working out better than I expected with the double duelist composition on the defense. I think a big part of it really is just winning those early gunfights, though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Zeke hasn't been too fortunate with how a lot of those have been going down, but at the same time, Zeke's getting information at the very least. So, you know, it's not all said and gone. And Katashio, meanwhile, with this operator, has been really contesting Son of Car in just the numbers of kills and pressure that can be applied on this defensive side. 1 through 7, their composition doesn't have that many entry tools, and you can see that they're starting to suffer from it a little bit more. There's only so many gun duels that you can kind of force and win out. That is just going to work out in your favor. Eventually, the utility starts to really push you back. And given the fact that this pressure on this B side is still available, J. Cruel ready to just drop some mollies down. And meanwhile, Katashio watching the long sight line. This is still a very hard site to take.
Yeah, J. Cruel just waiting for the initiation to start. And that's such good pushback, though. They've placed down the snakebite just to make sure this team is not going to try for something sketchy. But the defense, already 1 player taken down. More to go, though. 5v4. Oh, I'm just waiting for Katashio to see what they're going to do here. It's an op v op battle. So technically, you peeking the angle, you might be more at a disadvantage. Wall comes up, thinking they've broken it, but J. Cruel not seeing the light of day there.
Oh, jeez. Katashio sees a foot as well. Son of Car watching that long angle, but at least the res is going to be available. 5v5 here. Never mind, Katashio takes Son of Car out.
Yeah, they did get the resurrection, so they're pretty good. For now, at least, when you're 1 through 7. The post plan, spectacular off the side of NBG. Holding the angle. I thought they would have taken one. The angle peak coming through from Jay just a bit too quick. Now looking for more. Yeji eliminating numbers left and right. Still, though, headshots immaculate.
Oh, Jay.
And NBG, they've run away with it. Yeah, they have it.
Yeah. They're going to be able to get that defuse here, and that's another theme I'm kind of noticing about NBG. They really like to wait down that clock until like the last possible second before they decide to go in for their push, but every single time, maybe they just like that pressure being applied to them because they're like, all right, we're cutting this one close, let's go in there, and then Jay suddenly turns it up and is able to find 2 kills just like that. Fantastic stuff coming in from Nightblood Gaming. I thought that 1 through 7, especially with the Resurrection online, should have had a better handle on that one, but just overwhelming presence at the last possible second from Nightblood is more than enough to secure them that round. And, well, they're now just 1 round down from 1 through 7. 1 through 7, at least they've got a couple of ultimates online if they want to play off of those ones.
Yeah, droning the entirety of the area. Actually not finding out Katashio. This is good on their part. Jiggle peek could mean the end, but not sensing the fast push coming forward. J. Cruel as well as Excite. I mean, they've been able to find their own, but that's 2 ultimates down already. NBG having a huge advantage to start.
And it's so scary because so many kills through the smokes have been so effective. And just like that, I mean, Jay finds that kill onto Fireball, and Pyro has to do it up against everybody. Looking to at least find one here, but this is going to be near impossible. And yeah, Jay Cruel finds that with the classic Nightblood Gaming. They even themselves out.
Look, at this point, it's difficult to even know what you should expect, but we've been seeing a lot of B push from 1337, and it just looking to do it again, despite constantly being shut down.
Yeah, but look at the ultimate bank now. I mean, they were at least able to get that Viper's Pit out. I do think that that was a really good reaction from Jay Cruel. Completely shut down any of the plans. 1337 has been having some issues on this engagement. But now, I mean, they've got more than enough engagement tools. And given the fact that they've got that Viper's Pit as well as the Killjoy lockdown, if they take that site, they should be able to hold on to it pretty firmly and find themselves at double digits. 2 out of force as well for Son of Car to really supplement the economy. Given the fact that it is a lower buy, Viper's Pit would be really nice after the plant.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was about to say, Katashia should be moving out of that. Because after missing a shot like that, it takes a while to reload. The op seems like, though, 2 players kind of keeping this on lockdown. Speaking of lockdown, I mean, perfect timing.
Yeah, and that honestly is just going to be able to flush the site out. And so at this point, I do think that 1337 should have a nice clean plant, set up the Viper's Pit, allow those Stingers to get maximum value. On top of that, too, they have the Sage Wall ready to go, but this is an excellent counter lockdown coming in. That's going to flush them out of the Viper's Pit, and that's going to make things very interesting.
Oh, no. Even breaking that, now they know that somebody's up there. Mamiji goes down, so they have lost the Viper's Pit. And 337, Hunter Shuri forward to try to deny any sense of that diffusal, but already halfway down. They have it pretty much at this point.
Wow.
And it's a good round. I mean, perfect from NBG.
Yeah, perfect in more ways than one. They're able to keep 4 of their members alive there. They get 1337 to invest almost all of their ultimates. 4 ultimates used in that round. And they still stay alive throughout all of it. And that's only just an investment of their own lockdown in that matchup right there. The fact that they're able to flush them out completely is just perfect. And just like that, well, 1337, they are going to amply just take this tack time out because they've spent everything in the bank for that last round and they got nothing. Nightblood Gaming robbed them on that one. And they still have those duelist ults ready to go, but I think you just hold on to them in the back pocket because the Nightblood economy as well is looking nice and powerful. Well, 1337, a little bit of a blow, and that is just going to crumble down.
NBG, I feel like they actually just like to group up and move in together there from 1337 too, which, you know, kind of makes things a lot harder. I feel like for when you're really trying to keep that heavily contest because you're giving NBG that huge chance to get that 5-player retake, which I think is difficult. Again, early engagements are a super big thing in a game like this one, especially Icebox, where like information and conditioning these players is quite literally the best thing you can do on a tight map like this one. So definitely trying, yeah, especially since they are aiming for that default here this time around to get those early engagements as well.
And honestly, too, it seems like Nightblood Gaming are getting more and more confident about how these gunfights are going. Katashio now just peeking out very early, looking for something, but Yoji's able to secure that kill. So this is an excellent start for 1337. The question is whether or not they engage off of that individual pick. The reinforcements from Nightblood Gaming are already starting to move around. They just have to be careful of a lurking Killjoy that could potentially stab them in the back, but given the angles there, I think it should be okay. Jay going to be taking first point as Fireball's watching.
This is giving me quite a bit of deja vu, though. From when Jay actually tried to pull the same thing, you know, getting the lurk down in mid when they were on the attack. Let's see how Fireball handles this one. Are they going to, you know, rotate too slowly? Or is it going to be a perfect time, though? Decay not doing them a favor there. They do try to get themselves out of the way through the smoke, gets the shot, but then again, so many players on this team struggling to keep themselves alive. Already the next one down, Fireball taking their one, so it doesn't matter. At this point, wall is up. So it does a
30
good job
seconds left.
keeping
Spike
1337
planted.
covered for now, but Jay working up. Unaware of the amount of
standing.
players hiding. Not actually working with Zeke either. That was a perfect leer that they could have used in that situation.
And now Zeke up against the world, a 1v3. You can see 1337, they've completely backed themselves off here. Now information given as well. The leer gonna get tossed out here, rifle spotted, but this is still very tough for Zeke.
Having to work by themselves. And even then, yeah, nothing you can do. 1v2. Unless you rush that. But the leer already gone. There really wasn't any util to play with either. So 10 to 10, keeping it really tight.
Once again, I feel like 1337, they look so much better in just the neutral Valorant game. When there's no utility on the board, when it's just a 5v5 type of thing, gunfight-wise, it seems like 1337 generally come out on top. And that might be because they're kind of playing these tricky angles, making sure that they're watching each other's backs, so as soon as one goes down, they can immediately trade it or pick people up in some of these weird crossfires being set up. But at the same time, I mean, Nightblood Gaming, they're starting to be a lot more intelligent with their utility. I really want to highlight Jay Cruel there. I think Jay Cruel has been doing a fantastic job with this Viper, specifically on just making it so much more difficult for 1337 to engage onto the B side. Obviously, 1337, no duelists, no flashes. They have to be very cautious how they engage into a smoke or watch some of these angles that could be potentially happening. And J. Cruel has been just honestly able to kind of reign free, setting up Kitashio for a lot of early engagements. But of course, 1337, not out of it just quite yet. Their economy not looking fantastic, but they should be able to scrap together a little bit of a buy this round. Still, Nightblood Gaming, they want to snatch this one back. As a reminder, this was Nightblood Gaming's map pick, and so they're hoping that they can get the win on this one.
And if they don't, they put themselves at a disadvantage.
Scanning ahead.
Now Empress could be popped, so there is a lot of potential for like a big, I guess, one player star moment here coming through from Zeke. Still waiting to peek the angle, but NBG finding a nice shot on an offset.
Oh, I almost feel bad for Zeke. It feels like Zeke has been the first blood so often in this map so far. And now with that Reyna down, a little bit more room is going to be garnered. Excite using that owl drone does get a bit of information, but Jay this time losing the neutral fight in mid to Fireball. And suddenly 1337, the map is their oyster. They can kind of go wherever they want.
But that's exactly what they needed here, right? Take a step back, analyze the situation like NBG had been doing in their previous gameplay on the attack, because it didn't work for NBG because 1337 were so patient. But NBG, their hands are starting to itch, right? They want to move themselves up. So you can see the movements forward. Zeke getting taken away because they love to ego peek these angles as that Reyna player, right? So a good adjustment from 1337. Now just having to get themselves onto the site. The smoke orb up. 7 bullets left on Yeji.
Plant the spike.
Spike could be going down. Jay Cruel actually gets spotted out there, and well, Fireball with a little bit of a spray is able to win that gunfight. And now look at this. Fireball going so far in deep. I don't think Nightblood are ready for this.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be no, please peek the other angle. Oh no. And that's scary because you would expect to clear the site first. And I think right there, right, a quick jiggle peek too would have done the job, but yeah, getting punished from that one. NBG walk away scotch-free. So an op in hand, saving that for the next round. Although we're getting pretty close to that match point mark.
Yeah, I was about to say, a bad situation could have been turned into a worse one, but unfortunately Fireball just kind of walks out the wrong way. And I guess if you were expecting people to anchor a site, then you would walk out and peek that way, catch someone with their knife out, but unfortunately not the case as Excite scoops that one up. But 1237, no shenanigans this time. They just take their weapons. Their economy isn't looking fantastic. They had to really force it to be able to win this last round, and so they're just going to hold on to their rifles. They don't even want to try and contest it, because going up against Kitashio with that operator is never really a nice matchup, and that would hurt your economy even more.
We're getting close to seeing who's going to be the winner of the first map. Man,
Track
it's
them down.
pretty
That's
scary.
crazy.
I think it's looking fairly a bit more in favor right now.
Revealing area.
2-1-3-3-7. Hopefully Katashio, for the side of NBG, they can figure something out, for their sake. But the op all the way on the other side of B.
Yeah, Son of Car, such a high impact player on 1-3-3-7 thus far. I talked a little bit about that chamber not really being a duelist, but if you're able to find that many picks, then that kind of opens up the site in its own.
Toxins going up.
And honestly, Momiji has been doing most of the groundwork when it comes to actually making those first engagements. But this time around, we'll be kind of flanking, and this might throw NBG off if they do see that Viper first.
Oh man. One the patience. Cat for Katashio actually working in favor for the B site, so they've stopped the Viper. That's the controller down. So they have absolutely no smokes to use. Yeji's wall is probably the best bet that they'll get. Trying to keep this intact. Oh, resurrection through, but the op's still there. They've lost one in place. What might actually be better, keeping the Viper alive to keep these smokes up.
Yeah, Yeji as well. Got a little bit of a
30
wall bang
seconds
from
left.
that operator. Got extremely low, and this time around, Nightblood Gaming, they know where they like to plant on to be. Utility immediately gets set up to counter that. Oh, Katashio misses it. Son of Car finds one, but it's traded back.
Looking to follow up though, Son of Car. I don't know. J. Cruel's right next to them.
Player standing.
They're so low it might have worked, but Ego peeking the angles, left alone. If anything, Fireball having to fend for themselves. It's not looking good. 1-3-3-7 shots hit, and I thought right there it would have been another one. But NBG take away the round. Good teamwork there. A lot of it was just like the individual fights that 1-3-3-7 was taking there, unfortunately.
And I want to get back to a point that you kind of made there, specifically about that Viper falling down, Momiji being the first person who goes down. That's one of the problems with this triple Sentinels. Sure, they can cover a lot of ground and they can really lock down the map. But as soon as you lose that Viper, you can tell there was a scramble to engage off of it. We have to make sure that we keep this Viper alive so we have some sort of semblance of smokes so that we can set up our wall and get that spike down. It makes things so much more dire for 1-3-3-7. There's so many more win conditions available for Nightblood Gaming. As long as they can find a couple of picks, things start to look bad for 1-3-3-7. I don't think that Momiji should be the person engaging onto the sites, given the fact that they are the only one who hold the smokes.
Okay, here's a perfect example of when a good punishment might be able to come through. Right, they've captured Zeke in the location there. Unfortunately, for Zeke having to get out of their own position, so now they're going to have to find something else to fight for. 2 players, though, on the A side. Potential there for 1-3-3-7.
And it's slow on both of these squads. 1-3-3-7, they've done this before where they just take a bunch of space and then immediately kind of disengage and play off of the additional space that has been garnered on the map. Saw the exact same thing on this last round, except last time it was on to B. This time Momiji taking space onto mid. He's able to secure the spot and a little bit of Sova utility to try and sell the fake. But is it going to be enough? Nightblood Gaming. Looks like they kind of read it. J. Cruel and Katashio just still holding things down. That's going to make things a little bit more difficult for 1-3-3-7 on this engagement.
30 seconds left.
Now they're waiting for Katashio to make that first move with the off, and they move in. Again, perfect timing here. Now the plant goes down. Post plan is going to be difficult with Katashio now finding those shots. 13 seconds left, but they haven't gotten the plant down either. This is good for the side of NBG. If they can follow up, but it's a 4v3 now. Numbers advantage there, and Jay finding another.
2v4 here. Not a lot of utility left, but 2 shock darts available, 4 pyro. Still, this is very hard.
They put up the smoke to try to give themselves coverage. Not enough, though. All they need to do, again, is try to lure this team out and hope they don't get the plant, but NBG taken down. My apologies, 1-3-3-7 taken down, and the match point being given over to NBG.
Oh, no, you don't deserve.
Gompers, you kind of called it at the start of this map. You thought this one was going to be very close, and you know what? This is very close.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, you know what? And again, it really is just like, the accuracy of what Icebox was for both of these teams. They're both pretty comfortable on a map like this one. So I was expecting like heads to be butt. I mean, butted heads to, you know what?
You got
I
there.
forgot
You
the
got there.
saying.
We're picking up what you're putting down right now. It's okay. They're gonna butt heads against each other. It's okay. We got there. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the issues with this composition from 1 through 7. They started out really strong on the defense, obviously, but then they started to get read by Nightblood Gaming quite a bit. And on this half as well, I mean, there were 2 rounds in a row where it was like, wow, okay, if they keep on coming in with that steam, with that level of gameplay, then yeah, of course they're going to be able to win this half. But then it just kind of stayed the same. And meanwhile, Nightblood Gaming, as soon as they started to adapt themselves a little bit more to the play style that 1 through 7 goes with, you know, some of these fakes, the slow play, and where they like to set up their utility, they know exactly how to play. And that's why Nightblood has kind of swung this one back around.
Oh, no. One person going down on the side of NBG. Or my apologies, on the side of 1 through 7 for me, the victory of NBG, so they have to be very careful. They've taken out J-Crawl. Again, no potential for any sense of those snake bites or even the wall there, but the Hunter's Fury, you know, trying its absolute best. Yaji in such an interesting spot.
Only has a stinger too, Coppers.
Oh, no. If I were Jay, I would know what they were aiming for here. Either pushing this up or maybe hiding on the left side. Yaji finds the shot regardless, all right? And the mid control there, it's perfect for 1 through 7. They've taken control not only of the site, but of the extremities as well. Yep, just working for the right click. Wow, beautiful.
Flawless round to take us to overtime. But I mean, you look at that last round as well, and you could just see, as soon as that Viper goes down, it's so much easier for 1 through 7 to move in onto the site. It's just like, as soon as there's no real obstacle in there, they're completely fearless. But anytime a little bit of an inconvenience kind of pops up, it throws so much difficulties into their engagement plan. And now that we do find ourselves into overtime, 12-12, 1 through 7 starting us out on our defense. As a reminder, in the half, it was 7-5 for 1 through 7. So they did look a little bit better on the defense than they did on this offense. But honestly, I don't know. At this point, Nightblood Gaming, it feels like they've read the style of 1 through 7, so they shouldn't be making as many mistakes as we've seen in these previous round, Coppers.
I think this is where the mistakes might be able to stop. NBG learning from their past mistakes, actually, and Katashia pulling through with, you know what, won them that first round originally.
And I really like that. Just adding in a little bit of that pressure there, completely just kind of separating the defensive side of 1 through 7. No, doesn't even commit to it, by the way. And that's been kind of constant on those last attacking rounds of Nightblood Gaming. It's just to kind of throw a little bit of a wrench into the plans of 1 through 7. Make them just a little bit more uncomfortable. With this Viper's wall deployed, a lot of utility being tossed out. This is actually a fake. They're banking on the fact that 1 through 7 rotated pretty early on. 1 through 7 seem a little bit wiser to it this time around.
If there's one thing 1 through 7 is good at, it's most definitely staying silent and obedient as well. Yep. Engagement taken away. Yeah, Son of Car is always the first one to take the shot, right? So I think it's great too, because Chamber can be aggressive like that. They do have that rendezvous right here. Zepho getting caught out. Nice alarm bot. Yeah, pretty much punishable as well. Refrag. Not going to do too much. That numbers advantage still there. Mamiji clearing up for that 13-12.
Oh, that was just textbook placement of how you want to play that one. I mean, you can tell Nightblood Gaming, they were like, yo, we got these guys fooled. We got these guys fooled. They're going to think we're going A. And so they assume that they can just kind of take a lot of space for free. And 1 through 7, once again, to their credit, they've been learning. And as a result, they slow it down, you know, dig their heels in on each of the sites, set up camp for a little bit, and just kind of wait things out. And it works perfectly for them. Nightblood just walk into they're not even looking the right way, and 1 through 7, they're able to secure the kills. Now the question will be, are they going to be able to get this attacking round? They have been struggling as of late, but, you know, I'm still willing to be surprised here. 1 through 7 with this triple sentinel composition. Are they going to be trying something different? That's going to be the big question going into this next round.
NBG lost the last one. When they were on the defense, leading up into this OT. I think here it's just, what can we work towards to guarantee this win? I don't think they're not feeling confident in this round. They've dominated on the defense by far. So I think it really is just like, how can we use Kitashio to the best of our ability? And it seems like the B site might be the play, as that is technically the site that 1337 tends to hit the most. But definitely looking forward to see how NBG is going to handle this.
Yeah, and NBG, they just go back to the exact same defensive positions that they had before. J. Cruel moves out a little bit to get a bit more information, but they're going to be playing off of that. And look at that reinforcement as well. Swarm grenade on that B site, exactly where they like to plant that spike, and they don't usually clear that utility there. So that could be really annoying for 1337 if they do engage onto B. And while a lot of room being taken by Zeke, I think that's ample information to at least get yourself set up to be a little bit more B defensive.
Revealing area.
Two players trying to hold on an off angle, but nobody knows where Zeke is. They go up the rope, they find an unfortunate reality. Oh, they've jumped it. No, and they don't know. Zeke is unaware. Oh. That's beautiful. Fireball was so incredibly smart for that.
Check your quarters, rule number 1.
Wow, they've done a perfect job at just clearing the angles there. So now it just gives them like full force power for 1337. Numbers advantage there, but then again, NBG super good with the retakes. Already one and maybe a second there from Fireball. The 3K coming down to it, but the reload not allowing them anything. And slowly working away is Kitashio. The op still in hand. I mean, it was a close one.
Spike planted.
But still able to slowly work themselves back up into this position. Maybe finding the high ground, taking out the one, and developing into something more. It's going to be very difficult. Slowly working around 20 health left. Let's not forget a right click could end the life of this person. It seems like they're slowly playing the ring around the rosy game, listening into every single step that's made. 8 bullets left and maybe just a headshot needed. But it's Yeji to close out the round for 1337. A victory for a map that was not even their pick.
No, it wasn't, but 1337, they look so good on it. Bringing out the triple sentinel composition and still being able to win things out. And honestly, I mean, when you take a look at how that last one went, Son of Car just absolutely doing the most in being able to shut things down. But big congratulations to them. They're able to steal away Nightblood Gaming's map pick, and that has got to feel good, especially too when this is an elimination round.
It's gotta feel spectacular. Again, like even after going through the hardships of constantly having to adapt against a team that honestly was, adaptable themselves, right? I think the biggest thing was, kind of working with the punches that they were given with. And I felt like both sides did spectacular at that, I would have to say. But I want to hear your thoughts on it, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, it just came down to I don't want to just say like the gunplay, but it was just honestly so good coming out from 1337 when it came to those gunplay rounds. I mean, obviously, as soon as they get some of those early picks, it felt like the round was just kind of over for 1337. But it was honestly a good adaptation from Nightblood Gaming, trying to use their utility a little bit more. They understood that this was a little bit of a glass cannon composition kind of coming out from 1337. Throw more wrenches into their plans, and you could tell that under the pressure, 1337 was having such a hard time. But anytime they got those first bloods, well, the round kind of just flew in their favor.
No, it really did. And I think in general too, for the entirety of what the game was obviously on a map like Icebox. We talked a bit about, again, the adaptations that were made, maneuvering themselves through mid for NBG when things weren't really looking good to take that mid control, and finding these little things and hiccups that this team had made and really developed with, the side of 1337 was great to bring them back up. The defense was looking spectacular, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's going to happen down on that map number 2. Of course, I know you guys are anxious to see it, so I'll stop talking for a second. We'll see you right back with more VALORANT NA Challengers.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Face.